Might just do it again here in game number 2 as we're ready for picks and bans. Ricardo looking to 2-0 European powerhouses, but they won't be able to first pick the Xbalanque because it's actually EP who's in the first pick slot this time. And they lead it off by banning the Kuzenbo.
You know you're doing something right as a team when they are opting to ban away a Guardian that's not necessarily the best Guardian in the world. It's just an annoying Guardian.
He's an annoying Guardian. Yeah. I'll subscribe to that, but I don't know about the first ban being quite necessary there on the Kuzenbo. Vamana, the second ban for EP. So now there's a bit of a catch-22 for Ricardo. They banned Freya, but that leaves open Hera, leaves open Xbalanque. The good news is that EP can't take both of those selections.
That's true. I would go with the Xbalanque for sure, right off the bat.
I agree.
That global pressure, you want to have it on your side. You don't want to deal with it. You can still kind of handle against a Hera, dive her, you know, as long as you have the player advantage. But when you're caught out of position, Xbalanque ultimate comes through, Ricardo is just going to have to find a way to adapt to that.
Bacchus going to be the first pick for Ricardo. I imagine Hera should be right alongside this, unless they've got some intel that EP doesn't quite play it in the mid lane. That could be the pick, and that might be the direction they're going as they select the Artio. This almost certainly going into the solo lane.
Probably. Last game, it was EP that picked the Artio this early in the game. The cripple is very annoying to deal with, and I like this amount of control that they have, Ricardo, between Bacchus and the Artio. Good lockdown. Both have flexibility in terms of who wants to engage and who wants to be the defensive peeler.
Is Achilles the best lane matchup up against the Artio? I mean, his combat dodge gets shut down by those entangling roots. I mean, I think that there's some moments in that lane where Achilles was probably going to get a little frustrated.
I think that if you don't get an early advantage as Achilles, you're going to falter. The Artio, once you get cooldown reduction and Breastplate of Valor, will win that matchup. So it's up to the Achilles to abuse his Artio before that happens. It's important to just trade off basic attacks. The wave clear is insignificant because Artio doesn't have the best lane clear in levels 1 through 5 anyway, so there might be some execute plays available.
Achilles might have to play very aggressively in that lane, and so a good ganker like, say, Bacchusura is a good idea to ban away for EP. By the way, Ricardo did get that Hera yet again for Eribiiax. Definitely the right idea there in their picks and bans. Is Ares actually the next ban? Not the one that I would have thought of, but I think a very good one here. 3 non-CC immune ultimates and a lot of dashes or leaps in Bacchus' case that would have been shut down. So I like the Ares ban.
We saw, I believe, at Worlds where it was, what, Rival versus Splice, and every time Aurora went for the Artio was getting countered, hard countered by the Callous Ares. So it makes sense. It's a good matchup. Great doing their homework was EP in this game.
Hachiman, the ban, or the pick rather, by Ricardo. Hachiman got really favored by the Pittsburgh Knights in the SPL. Vote seemed to really like this pick. I think it might have opened some eyes. Hachiman might have been a sleeper so far in Season 6.
It's just such a safe pick. If you're not going to pick Jingwei for whatever reason, go for the Hachiman. Your transition into the late game is very good with the Heavenly Banners. The mounted archery ultimate covers so much distance, so not only can you disengage, but also the chase down potential if you start winning that 1v1 matchups. That's the last nail in the coffin with your ultimate.
Now, Morrigan is in the mid lane here for EP as they round out their draft with Dodgy, Naja. Do they have great transformation targets? Because I think that's the one thing that you're always looking for with the Morrigan. Maybe Dodgy, Ravana, actually. I think Ricardo does EP a giant favor here by picking this pick. This is the best transformation by far.
I was going to say, for sure, Ravana's the best one. But before the Ravana selection, I like the Achilles transformation, getting the stun off as well. Double executes is never a bad thing. It's hard to kill these Guardians, but when you got 2 potential executes, that makes it easier. EP looking to get themselves on the board in the win column here in game number 2. Ricardo going to try and close it out with the clean sweep.
Right now, we'll see if EP can turn themselves, make this one a little longer, transition into an LP. You like that one, Taco? You get that one, Taco? You have no idea, do you? Taco's looking at me like I got 7 heads. I love it. EP is like a very small...
It's music.
Yeah, it's like 4 songs, like a demo.
4 to 5 demo.
LP is like a feature.
I was an indie kid too, but the big thing that I'm looking for here is... Team Ricardo not really liking the way that this level 1 fight has gone down. And yes, this is a level 1 fight between Artio, Bacchus, Achilles, and the Naja. But the first impressions that I'm seeing from this European Powerhouses draft, Tom, is it looks cool. But how much crowd control do you really have to offer?
Yeah, not a lot of CC. The double dodgy can always be a little bit scary, right? but there's so much CC immunity across the way. Red buff invade coming out from Team Ricardo. Will they be punished? Here's Naja. Ring. Good enough. Red buff and the slow and the protection shred and the damage. Whew. Have I ever said I like Naja?
Oh, I think everybody likes Naja as long as Naja
on your
stays
team
the way he is. But you know, every god has their time in the sun. That's for sure.
Every dog has its day.
Naja is no different.
Yep. Naja, very, very difficult to deal with in this duo lane, so I'm sure the Hunter's very happy that he's elsewhere. But as I was saying, Team Ricardo, a lot of CC immunity here. Mr. Turtle's going to get pulled, but do you really want to pull a Bacchus? Eribiiax has some support with, again, you know, you've got the Argus on top of everything. Tyler's got the horses in the back. Nate can jump all the way out with the ultimate. A lot of things to worry about
it's
here.
Just, even if you can pull someone in from Team Ricardo, the targets that you have as options are just not the ones that you want to see in the middle of a team fight. I don't want to bring in a Bacchus from my Pala ultimate unless I'm convinced I'll kill him, just like Gnome is looking to do here against Mr. Turtle. But it was a trap all along. The horrific was strong, but the gank was even better from Nate.
Nate shows up and just 1-2 punch. Easy for Raven. No problemo there, says Team Ricardo, as they pick up their first blood in the left lane.
And now, if I'm European powerhouses as well, I'm already starting to get a little bit nervous here, because it's one thing for Naja to be the first blood sacrifice and everything like that, but it's another thing for a Naja to fall behind. And I think that when Naja is punished throughout levels 1 through 5, especially against a god like Bacchus, who is going to be very commanding in a lot of these early skirmishes, I think that Gnome should probably already be looking to just take advantage of making up for that miss farm with some back harpy invades or even purple buff or red buff attempts. Just leave that Xbalanque to his own devices in the duo lane. He'll probably be safe and able to farm it out under tower. If he's getting zoned or the waves are getting frozen, then yes, I want to see Gnome heading back over to that duo lane. But for right now, when you've already been punished, you can't just let things stay as is.
Another invade coming out from Nate, looking for the enemy blue buff. Team Ricardo's jungler just says, Genesis, leave. Genesis loses almost his entire HP.
See, if only European powerhouses knew about the dodgy support strats. And could have thrown Naja into the jungle. You think it isn't good? But it is great, and Awesome Jake has taught me so. Well,
Nate is teaching us all a lesson here. Another kill for the jungle Raven. Here comes ChangBang being chased down by Argus, looking for the stun. We'll get it. You can't stun Argus, baby. 3 unanswered kills for Team Ricardo. They take first blood, and they don't stop coming.
But Mr. Turtle, he's going to stay flopping right on top of Sacuille and Xbalanque. Missing out half his health. Needs to be careful here, though. Is at level 5 with that Darkest Night ultimate, which is, I think, the primary reason Mr. Turtle and Tyler are even willing to sit back so much, because they're both still rocking level 4 and just not really feeling comfortable with going all out just yet in this duo lane. They won't have any backup support for a little bit longer here, but Nate is already starting to make the rotation just to ensure that Team Ricardo won't be losing their purple buff.
Gnome's here, another target. Nate gonna take the long way, the duo lane takes the short way. Gnome again in some trouble. Nate has everything available to him, jumps in, finds the hit, gets a root, forces the ultimate out of the Naja. That's a good enough look. ChangBang invisible, coming through, now spotted, ping's coming out. Nate versus the Morrigan. There's a 1-2 punch, not that big of a deal. Nate flip kicks, walks away.
It's just a waste of time, I think, for ChangBang this late. No one to really look for a punish there, but already had the mid wave, I think, waiting to be met. So Eribiiax, so he's just been chilling in mid lane this entire time. He hasn't looked for any of these rotations, so he's got a slight experience lead as a result of that, but the bigger thing that I'm looking at from that last little 2v2 is it feels like Gnome, a lot of Team Ricardo's or a lot of European Powerhouse's success, I think, kind of depends on Gnome being able to consistently connect with the wind, fire, and wheels. But
for sure,
the more I look at Team Ricardo's draft, the less and less I like this Najah in the support role, because yes, it's aggressive, but I seriously feel like European powerhouses are going to be missing out on some of that heavy crowd control.
Ricardo can certainly deal with a number of things. Nate dealing with the mid lane rotation. 4 players strong. EP find themselves on the right side of the map, but still gonna get one pull. ChronicThe Bros 50%, and he'll likely fall down unless Nate shows up. There it is. Genesis over the wall, gets the jump, but Nate takes care of Gnome. Rooted, and here's help from his friends. A Polymorph and an Argus. And NightwaIlker in trouble. The stun going to be on the mark from the Bacchus. Knockup won't be, but Argus still on the chase. Blue buff going to be confirmed, but the kill also. Eribiiax falls down. Argus continues the chase. Team Ricardo, 5 kills in 6.5 minutes. They're up 1,500.
But I love this from Ricardo. Not only do they look for the punish in the fight and take advantage of European powerhouses sticking around for way too long, but that is their own jungle. Don't get me wrong. This is European powerhouses jungle that Team Ricardo are freely overextending into, but I can't even call it an overextension when Eribiiax is able to just come through, drop an Argus, and coolly help his team collect 2 kills for practically nothing. I mean, you lose ChronicThe Bros, so what? I don't think anybody cares about a level 7 Artio dying in comparison to getting the life of Gnome, who, again, on this Najah, I think is already having to deal with his own battles up against the Bacchus, but also NightwaIlker. I mean, it's just a clean trade-out for the solo lane, so in the end, ChronicThe Bros doesn't lose anything.
And Genesis trying not to lose much. Rival Gnome goes for the ultimate. Nate able to avoid it. Nice beads there from the enemy jungler. Now Gnome without a tool in the world. The stun, though, not going to come through. Genesis trying to help out. Grabbing up on Nate. Flip kick could be good. Beautiful ring bounce from Gnome, although it will secure his death. Now with Argus on the chase. Nice body block coming out from Chang. So the jungler should be fine. Mr. Turtle, though, not giving up. Pops a potion on the chase. Dodgy on the right side, going to be safe. But since Bacchus leaves his team dies to the Morrigan.
Tunnel vision. He needs this flop, or he needs to do something. And
got him. Okay,
fortunately enough for him, Genesis cancels his back to base that he would have undoubtedly made it out. No problem whatsoever. It's just a classic player panic, I think. And cool little Bacchus belt stun, and Mr. Turtle's right on out of there. Is it worth a little bit more so now? Yes. And it's not as heavy as a punish as it should have been. Eribiiax being left alone there, I mean, I think that your P-Pros did exactly what they're meant to do. They killed a Hera, who is support abandoned, to go chase another carry from our team. But Genesis just needs, I think, to have a little bit more player confidence on getting that back off. He was out of there.
Love the build coming out from Hera. We saw this last game as well, just maximum CDR here. 40% CDR in just 2 items if you don't count the beginning, right? Mage's Blessing is 10, 20 on the boot. Like, just a beautiful spot. Excuse me, 30% CDR. Beautiful spot here for Team Ricardo's mid lane to be at. I believe that the CDR most important on Hera because that means more Argus, baby.
And Eribiiax has already, I think, been causing enough problems just to throw in this Argus out. And no, going to get a nice sash off onto Mr. Turtle, but it's a punish for himself and himself alone. Intoxicate already having been used as well. And Argus is just doing what we've seen him do all game long. Tank up tower shots.
It's exactly how I like to see Hera played. You were talking about, the mid lane mages kind of being a little too aggressive, but Hera's kind of built for that, so I'm with it. Tylern, on the other hand, diving the tier 2 tower here, looking for the proxy. Not even punished. These hunters have been left on planet Neptune.
It's a level 10 Hachiman, and if Genesis wants to say what's up, well, he's got to expect Tyler's going to be picking up the phone, and I would not want Tylern to be the one answering when I'm a level 8 dodgy.
I feel that. I never want to pick up the phone and hear Tylern calling.
Fair enough for you. I would hope the same.
Tylern, also the name of our producer. He's raging in the back right now. Thank you. missed shot from Nate right there as he battles it out against the enemy jungler. 1 level Najee Senior, but with the missed root, not going to be a nice look there for the Ravin. So Jungle Ravin walks back. Mid lane, 4-1-0 for Eribiiax.
And I've just got to call it out. I don't think I've seen a single double Najee or double Neja this entire game so far. And I know that European Powerhouses hasn't exactly been in a position to even really look for those plays, but when you draft a certain composition, you have to trust that it's going to, you know, be efficient for the game that you drafted in. And in this case scenario, I just think that Team Ricardo might have just had the outplay here by looking to prioritize an actual steady front line over what I think was heavy execution from European Powerhouse's standpoint.
I mean, even beyond that, even just take away from the team and look at the individual level, ChangBang, if he's getting jumped on, Hera is a fantastic option. You transform into Hera, you immediately slam that third button, you have a shield, Argus comes down. There's a whole lot of options here. And I just haven't seen them out of the mid lane for European Powerhouses who, for what it's worth, had troubles game 1, found their stride during the middle of it. Nate flip kicks and gets out. Now the turnaround. Eribiiax gonna play off of the Bacchus jump. A little bit of help from European Powerhouses. Mr. Turtle's pulled, but that's about it. Do you really want to pull Mr. Turtle? He doesn't have the ultimate as he just uses it. So can't chase down the kill there for Genesis. But a stun onto Gnome and a knock up on a Gnome. Basic. And here comes Tylern with the horses in the back. Number 10 for Team Ricardo as the Hachiman makes the rotation. Argus chases. Sacuille, Eribiiax, long range, don't matter. Number 11 for Team Ricardo.
And now Genesis probably having some instantaneous regrets off of that trickster spirit straight into the heart of Team Ricardo. 0 ward vision, so no way for him to know. And now ChangBang might just meet the same fate, except this time, 4 members of Team Ricardo surrounding him.
13. It's all good luck here for Team Ricardo surrounding NightwaIlker. He's likely to fall down here. Nice ring bounce from the Naja to slow everybody down. But again, Tylern, 3 kills without a death. Team Ricardo at 13 minutes have 14 kills and are looking at a tier 2 tower.
But European Powerhouses, they kept challenging one by one by one. Yes. Somebody would die and then another person from their team would instantly say, hey, it's my turn now. And I wish we could see an actual true reset from European Powerhouses. Team Ricardo, I think, was definitely guilty of this same exact scenario in the last game. They seem to have cleaned it up here in game 2. Nice win, Fire and Wheels. Gonna immediately take Team Ricardo's Nate out of the picture, but only momentarily as he comes crashing right back down with that Mystic Rush onto Genesis for the kill.
Gnome immediately started boxing a level 13 Hachiman as a level 9 support built Naja. Not what I want to see there. Wrong decision making, I think, flat out coming out from European Powerhouses as Team Ricardo take a 7,000 gold lead without even glancing at an objective thus far.
It just feels like European Powerhouses keep thinking that they have to do something now. We have to respawn now instead of just taking the L's where they happen and cutting your losses short. And there's something to be said for understanding when to allow a T2 tower to go down or when to allow the map pressure to be slightly forfeited. And when you are already in that 4v5 power play instance, I think that's your cue to get on out of there. And European Powers have just missed it more often than not. But this could be a great opportunity here if they're able to find this pick onto ChronicThe Bros. They've got to get this pick fast, though.
Level 14 on the Bear Mom certainly would be a nice little turnaround. Now, ChronicThe Bros, this is all a bait. If we look at the left side of the map, the Gold Fury is going down. So ChronicThe Bros is sitting there. He's zoning. That is what Chronic is doing. He's zoning a map away. And Team Ricardo going to pick this one up nice and easily. Gold Fury. And European Powerhouses are Gold Furious. They certainly cannot do the Fire Giant. I would not even attempt. Nate makes a rotation to the right side. Perhaps a little excitable there. He's going to go down. Unnecessary. Oh, well.
But this is actually perfect for European Powerhouses. I mean, they might have lost the Gold Fury, and there might be a 7,000 gold disparity between these two teams, but they could have a chance, I think, to look for the Pyromancer. But their team just isn't all grouped up at the same time. They're just staggering themselves out of base. And now I think that that moment to look for the Pyromancer in response, possibly even a siege on that T1 tower in mid, is out the window. Yeah,
a couple of options missed by, you were talking about how hesitation is never a good look. These are the things. I mean, the difference between 3 and 5 seconds is well, it's 2 seconds. But 2 seconds is large in our game. You got to be able to make a decision immediately. Watch what happens here if Team Ricardo wins this team fight. NightwaIlker's in trouble. Ricardo still on the chase. If Team Ricardo killed NightwaIlker there, they immediately go for the Pyromancer. That's what we've seen them do in other scenarios, and that objective-minded focus is what's giving them the victory in Game 1 and the lead here in Game 2.
But even that little instance was so different in comparison to how I think European powerhouses would have tried to play it, because now Team Ricardo, they force European powerhouses away from the objective. They understand, okay, sure, we can't kill the Achilles, but now that everybody's left the vicinity, we're just going to take the Pyromancer that your team chose not to do when you had the chance to do it.
I actually really love that play, and I'll mention it in a moment. Pyromancer goes the way of Ricardo's. Mr. Turtle gets the last hit on it, and Eribiiax takes care of Gnome as well. Now trouble on the south side as ChronicThe is in danger. And NightwaIlker going to have to walk away, no problem. So Nate and ChronicThe are zoning for the squad, and the Naja ring comes through. Normally players instinctively back off. They group up and push forward, ensuring that the ring bounds can't hit the target, can't hit the backline that they're protecting everybody from. They isolated that Naja ring bounds, which instinctively you back up and join the team. Very, very good attention to detail there to isolate that Naja bounce. I loved it.
No, I don't know if Genesis, this is the right tree you want to go barking up, but Tylern still has that mounted archery. Could get away if he finds himself in an unfavorable matchup here with Eribiiax looking to play backup. I think Genesis now understanding the potency behind this Hera to its fullest extent here. And already I think the damage is starting to become a massive problem here for Eribiiax, because Team Ricardo, they took that Pyromancer without their Hunter even being present. Tylern was free to split push a T1 tower, and no one came to say anything about it from European powerhouses because they were also collectively focused on that one Pyromancer objective.
You mentioned it in the way early parts of the game. ChangBang was forced to make all these rotations, and Hera just sat in lane, farming and farming and farming, and Hera doesn't have a strong early game, so you kind of just want to sit there and farm. And now you're in mid game, you're 2 levels up. Your first ability is deleting players. Argus is another player character at this point. I mean, this is as close to an ideal game for Eribiiax that you could ask for.
Well, I mean, that's part of the problem, though, because you've got Gnome on Neja, you've got Genesis on Daji, and you have a Morrigan, so plenty of different, I think, kill opportunities against a Hera early game that European powerhouses just didn't play for.
Fire Giant started, but it's all a bait. European powerhouses answer the bait, however. NightwaIlker jumped on, brought down to 70 still. Pretty tanky, but a lot of damage nonetheless.
They got that Xbalanque ultimate baited, though, and that's all that I think Team Ricardo were really waiting on. Mr. Turtle already looking to re-aggress onto the Fire Giant, but comes to the understanding that his team was still interested in the team fight instead. ChronicThe Bros, in fact, zoning away 3 different members from EP right now, while Genesis is getting some nice full push in the mid lane.
Here's a nice jump on to Gnome. Should be fine. Tylern gets the kill, just kidding. Now the turnaround from Xbalanque. NightwaIlker still on the run, and Nate's going to miss the root, so that's a fallback from Team Ricardo. That tier 1 tower, not in trouble, as Genesis is controlled by the Bear Mob. Tyler's here, no ultimate available, but a stun's good enough. Beads focused out, and there's a blink over the wall. Oh, the basics. Whoa! Gets it with the long-range Eagle Eye. Love the play from Tylern right now. And Eribiiax with the long-range polymorph. Love the play from Hera right now.
And that seemed minimal to start, right? It's just Genesis, classic, on the run. Look to try and take an exchange with ChronicThe Bros here, but NightwaIlker getting baited in to his own death, trying to save the life of his teammate. It's not miscommunication there for European powerhouses. I think it's honestly just Ricardo playing these engagements significantly better.
Knocked up, knocked down. That's kill number 20. Team Ricardo just going to work, clocking in and clocking a kill per minute. 4-20 right now as Team Ricardo just heading for the end.
Yeah, this game's been pretty lit so far if you're a Team Ricardo fan, and one thing's for sure, it's only going to continue to spice up because Team Ricardo making this right-handed Phoenix Siege, and Genesis dropped the Powwow, but there's no follow-up.
Just not enough damage here. NightwaIlker, the only teammate under the right side. Phoenix, again, Nate and his Hunter just staring at the bird. Love how objective-minded Team Ricardo is. They'll take the win on the right side of the map, shift over to the left. Somebody's going to steal this speed buff.
And again, this all just comes back to the full set cycle for me because in game one, I think that Team Ricardo were definitely playing more to European powerhouses. I think pacing, because they kept choosing to aggress even when they probably understood that it just wasn't necessary. But I think some of that player experience is definitely starting to shine through now in game two for Team Ricardo. They got their game one win. They're like, okay, guys, we got all the sillies out of our system. Now it's back to business, and we're just going to keep things honestly on a cycle here. It's just kill objective, and one more time.
Oh my God.
Team Ricardo and Eribiiax looking to make the kills happen.
Now, Eribiiax started this engagement by himself. The team does show up, but 2 kills, and Tylern gets the 3rd. Hera largely fought that one, 1 versus 4. Just dodging and weaving, shielding and believing. Blink forward for the Bear Mom. That's going to isolate Gnome. Dash is used for good. Nate now not going to use the ultimate, doesn't have it available, but the mid lane bird, Ricardo, is here. Nate, Tylern. Well, Tyler's actually looking towards Gnome. Big heal off of the steroid, and well, that's another one. 8-0-4. The Hunter has been a part of half of Team Ricardo's kills. That's a whole bunch. And with 3 players down, Team Ricardo take care of the mid lane Phoenix. Shift over to the left lane. There is a tier 2 available, but likely to fall. Unless Ricardo back off as a bait. Knockup is good on the jungler, forces her into the powwow. And Team Ricardo looking for more now. Blink forward. Here's help. Nate already dealing with Genesis. And now the left side might have been all a farce. It could be the ending here, Taco. 75-50 on the Titan. Ricardo ended game number 1 in traffic. Can they do the same here? 30% on the big boy. That's a quarter. Team Ricardo staring at it. Eribiiax gets a kill. It goes down. The match. Team Ricardo in 2.
And I think that Titan ending alone speaks volumes for how this entire set was played by European powerhouses. I think a big struggle for this team that has just remained consistent for them in these weeks so far is they don't play around the objectives enough. They kind of treat this conquest a little bit more like arena, and it's cool to get kills, it's cool to find picks, but you've got to be able to do something after the fact with it. Otherwise, the enemy team's just going to take all the stuff on the map for free, and that's exactly what we saw ChronicThe Bros and everybody else doing over there. And so I think for European powerhouses, the big thing that I want to look for improvements for next week is just to keep things a little bit more objective oriented.
Well, the objectives go to Team Ricardo. To break it down, we've got the desk.
Thank you very much, Tom and Taco. Team Ricardo end up winning yet another set over EP. This time, totally. I said in game 1, EP made it tough. They had a lot of these good moments. Not quite the same here in game 2.
Unfortunately not. This non-shot pick for Gnome did not prove fruitful whatsoever. I think that the Hera and the Ravana combination coming out of Ricardo was just too much for EP to handle. High execution on the non-shot support out of Gnome just did not deliver today.
I'm surprised they gave Eribiiax Hera again, and I said it during picks and bans for game 2. It felt like a little bit of a call-out onto EP that, we don't know if they play the Hera. Let's not ban it. Let's not pick it right away. We'll see what they pick. They end up picking the Morrigan, which doesn't make nearly the same level of impact as Eribiiax had on this Hera yet again.
No, definitely not, because you need 2 aggressive gods in the 2v2 to cut the distance, right? Like, Eribiiax on the Hera is so safe in the backline. And during picks and bans, Hera could have been picked by EP for first pick, and then after the Bacchus Artio out of Ricardo, there was still an opportunity for EP to take that away, but they just called Eribiiax out, like, say, do it again, and he did.
He did it again, and Team Ricardo win again. What do you know? 11-1 for the Hera. Eribiiax making it rain on that pick. 8-0 as well for Tylern on the Hachiman. We said that that was a pick that's kind of been creeping up the ranks a little bit. Vote definitely opened a lot of our eyes to how potent that pick can be, and Tylern making it look pretty good, but no one even close to Eribiiax in damage. 20k alone. No one else getting higher than 15k that ChronicThe Bros brought.
But Mr. Turtle on the Bacchus having a very great support game, sitting at 1-0 and 18 assists. This is the true stat line you want out of your support, setting up so many plays for Eribiiax.
Yeah, that's where you want to be, and bringing the same level of damage as Nate on the Ravana at the same time. That's exactly what your Bacchus, what you want him to be doing. A lot of damage and not taking all the kills, but getting 1 or 2 for himself. Yeah. What do you think EP's got to do as they get into the second half of this phase to try and turn it around with their record right now?
I think like if they're going to take an aggressive support such as the Naja, they're going to need to make sure that they transition it into these invades successfully. Like practice it a little bit more because it was just not clean. Like you have to cut the distance. Maybe go for a blink early at level 1 so that you can actually sit in the mid lane, because Eribiiax had no real threats coming at him that entire game.
EP going to have to bounce back pretty soon, but pretty soon we're heading straight over to the Xbox side of things. We're going to start over in PlayStation, and don't worry, we won't have a break this time. April Fools.